In this video, I will be discussing the functions of the cardiovascular system and later on the anatomy of the heart. Our cardiovascular system is vital not only in sport but also in everyday life, as it pumps blood around the body and to our lungs, and we need oxygenated blood in order for our muscles to function. Things such as carrying the shopping bags require the CV system to function effectively in order for it not to be too strenuous. So in sport, it is vital as it therefore pumps oxygenated blood to our muscles so they don't fatigue too quickly. But it also helps in the removal of waste products such as CO2 and lactic acid, which also helps stop our muscles from fatiguing. Having a healthy CV system is also important to avoid things like heart disease, and in order to maintain this, a healthy lifestyle is needed, for example, eating a healthy diet and avoiding smoking. The CV system has 6 main functions. These are nutrients delivery, waste products removal, transport of oxygen, clotting, protection from infection, and thermoregulation. Each of these play their own vital role. Our heart, blood vessels, and our blood all help deliver vital nutrients, oxygen, and hormones to our bodies. The delivery of nutrients such as glucose is vital for athletes, for example a long-distance runner, as they provide their muscles with energy. The same with the transport of oxygen, as this allows our muscles to respire aerobically, and therefore our muscles fatigue slower. The removal of waste products is vital for any athlete, especially those doing endurance sport. So again, as a long-distance runner is a good example of this. Our blood flow works to clear out the lactic acid that's built up in our muscles during exercise, and through our pulmonary system, carbon dioxide is expelled when we exhale. Our CV system also helps protect us by fighting infections and having the ability to clot our blood. Our blood consists of 3 types of cells: red blood cells, these carry oxygen around the body, white blood cells, and platelets. The job of our white blood cells is to kill invading pathogens, therefore protecting us from infection. When they detect these pathogens, they then make antibodies to kill them, so if they are to invade again, our immune system can react even quicker to destroy them. Our platelets' job is to clot. This is vital, as if we cut ourselves, we need the flow of blood to stop as quickly as possible, as it's extremely important that we do not bleed out and lose too much blood. So our platelets clot where the open wound is in order to stop this blood flow and help start the process of healing. The final function of the CV system is thermoregulation. This involves cooling or warming of the body depending on whether the temperature is above or below the normal temperature of 37 degrees. It does this in 4 ways. 1. Sweat glands. These secrete sweat onto the surface of our skin, and when our blood or skin temperature is above normal, it allows heat loss via evaporation, so the skin can cool, and therefore blood that has been sent to the skin can also cool. 2. Smooth muscle, specifically in arteries. An increase in temperature means our smooth muscle relaxes, which increases blood flow to the skin and therefore allows cooling. And the same if there is a decrease in temperature. The smooth muscles vasoconstrict, therefore decreasing the blood flow and increasing the body's core temperature as less is reaching the skin. Number 3. The skeletal muscle. When there is a drop in blood temperature, this causes our skeletal muscles to shiver. These continuous little muscle contractions produce heat, therefore helping to warm up our blood. 4. Endocrine glands. These release hormones such as adrenaline in response to a drop in our blood temperature. These hormones increase the body's metabolic rate, therefore increasing the temperature of our body. Our CV system consists of 2 circuits, the pulmonary system and the systemic. The systemic system starts by the left ventricle, pumping oxygenated blood into the aorta. This blood travels into smaller arteries and capillaries. This blood then releases oxygen, nutrients, and other important substances to our muscular system, and then removes waste products such as carbon dioxide and lactic acid. As this blood is now low in oxygen, this travels through our veins and through the vena cava, the superior from the upper body and the inferior from the lower body, into the right atrium. The pulmonary system starts by the right ventricle pumping out blood that's carrying very little oxygen into the pulmonary artery, which again branches off into smaller arteries and capillaries. The blood then reaches the lungs and carbon dioxide is released from blood via exhalation, and more oxygen enters the blood via inhalation. The now oxygen-rich blood travels through the pulmonary vein, through the left atrium, into the left ventricle, and the whole cycle starts again. Now I will talk about the heart's anatomy. Our heart is a double pump system, is vital for our everyday bodily functions and also in sport. We need it to keep pumping the deoxygenated blood up to the lungs to become oxygenated, and the oxygenated blood to the body and then into the pulmonary system to become reoxygenated again. Without our heart doing this, our muscles will not receive the vital oxygen and nutrients they need in order to contract, to complete the movements we wish to do in everyday activities, and especially in sport when we are often putting our muscles through extreme levels of stress. Each part of our heart is structured to allow it to complete its functions such as any part of our body. Our heart wall consists of different layers. One layer is the endocardium. This is the very inner layer of the heart wall, and it has to deal with the blood flowing past it. The pericardium is a double-layered sac that protects the heart and allows it to move during contractions. This sac consists of different parts, which are the pericardial cavity, fibrous pericardium, parietal pericardium, and finally the visceral pericardium. This is also known as the epicardium. All of these parts protect our heart. The final part of the heart wall is the myocardium, and this is responsible for allowing the heart's contractions to take place, as it's the muscular tissue of the heart. Our heart consists of multiple different parts as well. It has two atria, the left atrium and the right atrium. These are responsible for allowing the blood to be pumped into the ventricles so it can then be sent to our body or the lungs. Our heart also has four main valves: the bicuspid valve and the tricuspid valve. The bicuspid valve is between the left atrium and the left ventricle, and it allows the blood to be pumped from the atrium into the ventricle. The tricuspid valve is between the right atrium and the right ventricle, which allows the blood to be pumped from the atrium to the ventricle. The reason these valves are called the bicuspid and tricuspid valve is because the bicuspid has two cusps and the tricuspid has three cusps. As a pair, these valves are known as the atrioventricular valves. The other two valves are the aortic valve and the pulmonary valve. The aortic valve allows the blood to flow out of the left atrium into the systemic system and to be delivered to the body. The pulmonary valve allows blood to flow out of the right atrium and into the pulmonary system to be delivered to the lungs. Our bicuspid and tricuspid valves have chordae tendineae attached to them, and these are then attached to papillary muscle. The job of the chordae tendineae is to hold the valves shut when they should be, to avoid backflow of blood from the ventricles into the atria. So that is the functions of the cardiovascular system and the anatomy of the heart.